Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon
and
to
you are most welcome to Nairobi.
Thank you.
Yes. Do you think there is sufficient interagency and cross-border collaboration in East Africa to deal with perpetrators?
No, it's not sufficient. It's not sufficient, and day in, day out, year in, year out, we must concentrate on building this collaboration. We simply need to speak to each other. Organs must speak to each other. Different agencies must speak to each other. We must be seen to be chasing the same animal. Unless we do that, we'll always be overtaken by criminals. But, however, there's a lot of effort, a lot of effort, and we just need to make sure this effort does not fall by the wayside. We just need to increase on the effectiveness of putting it together.
And what ideas do you have? I mean, how can you collaborate, or how can you work together to ensure then the East African countries are really working together to ensuring that they are able to address these sort of perpetrators?
Right. For example, look at the legal systems, the legal regimes. We must do whatever it takes to harmonize the legal regimes. It makes no point a criminal feeling happy in Kenya because the legal regime is weak, and feeling worried in Uganda because the legal regime is strong. We need to make sure punishments are uniform, or at least next to each other in terms of strength. We need to make sure the laws address crime almost in a similar way. So there is need for those in that area to sit down seriously and make sure life is made difficult for the criminals. But as long as someone comes to Uganda and I charge them 1 shilling for a real serious offense, and they come to Kenya and it's a death sentence, they always want to go to Uganda because after all, you pay 1 shilling and you're in jail for 1 month, and that's it. So we need to harden on that front.
And do you think there are other areas that could benefit from this sort of collaboration and harmonization?
Well, in terms of this collaboration would, for example, impact on social stability, would call in the communities to be on our side, would also have an effect on political stability, because once there's no crime, once crime is controlled, all factors are put in place. So the fight to make sure we agree and understand each other will automatically impact on our people, on their happiness and the way they go about their daily business.
And you've spoken about harmonization of legislation and punitive measures, but how can this be achieved amongst the East African countries?
We just have to take a major decision to address it. Like, for example, only recently we had the East African Police Chiefs Conference. It happened in Kampala. It's a regular conference. It happens every year. And one of the issues that really came out strongly was that harmonization. There's a whole legal subcommittee to IAPCO, and this committee has been tasked to sit and find out how best we can do this. The kind of crime trends as we know them today have greatly affected our communities in terms of human trafficking, for example. Our borders are now commonplace for human trafficking. As I speak to you, I'm in Nairobi attending this Wayamo conference. We have here DPPs and public prosecutors, and the same issue has come out. So Wayamo is going to find a way of linking with the IAPCO, getting to know what exactly is playing out on the IAPCO front, and then joining effort to put it together. Because Wayamo has brought in the brains that must actually work to make sure this harmonization happens. So it's a very, very good effort I can see here.
How has Afripol contributed to cross-border collaboration amongst law enforcement agencies?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Afripol is a brand new concept. It's a brand new idea. Actually, Africa is late because the rest of the world has organized. The Europeans have their Europol, the Americans have their Ameripol, the Asians have their Asiapol. It's only Africa that has been lagging behind. And once we solidify what we have started, because it's about 1 year that we inaugurated Afripol in Algiers, the secretariat is in Algiers. once we solidify what we are talking about, then we shall be able to control a lot of crime, cross-border crime, between East Africa and West Africa, West Africa and North Africa, North Africa and Central Africa. So Afripol will come in as a mechanism, to address issues on the continent without addressing them piecemeal. We can all sit together and address our issues as the African continent. And then after putting it together and correctly, then we can get into benchmarking on how Europol is doing theirs, how Ameripol is doing theirs. And it all comes to what I said before, that we are all chasing the same animal, crime, criminals and crime. So having a joint and strong Africa effort will contribute greatly to reducing cross-border crime. And of course, if this gets into the harmonization of the legal systems, then we shall be scot-free in terms of enforcing the law.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.